Yeah, pause YouTube, aka what's up YouTube? Welcome to week number 4. Yes, week number 4 of the lower tier for the ICP. If you guys are excited for this, make sure to like, answer the question of the day, which will be on your screen when the battle starts. Now, quick thing about this battle. Unfortunately, due to where I live in North Carolina, we had snow the week that this battle was supposed to take place, so I had to push it back. And when we had the actual game, unfortunately I was not at my computer. Luckily though, it was a very easy battle to recreate. There was maybe like 1 or 2 instances of hacks that I'll touch upon when we get into the actual battle itself, but nothing too crazy. So whatever happens in the replay was like 98.9% exactly what happened in the actual Wi-Fi battle itself. It's just that I'm going to be post-commentating the showdown replay, so yeah, just apologies about that, and I'll also touch on this in the actual battle itself for those of you who will skip to that. Anyways, we are taking on Finfin. His channel link and Twitch link will be down below. If you guys want to go ahead and check him out, definitely go ahead and do so. And honestly, going into this matchup, this is easily the hardest build I've had so far this season, because if you look at Finn's team, I think this was the draft that I said was kind of like a jack of all trades draft, where it can do a lot of different things. It doesn't do anything spectacular, but it can do everything pretty good to the point where it's really annoying to build for, because I have no idea what he's going to want to bring here. I had a couple mocks that did kind of help narrow down to possibly what he wanted to bring, but overall this matchup is just really annoying. I don't know if it's because his draft is just that good, or because our matchup into this draft is just really bad. Regardless though, this was very annoying. However though, he does have a couple weaknesses that hopefully we will be able to take advantage of going into this matchup. So our first team member here is going to be Meloetta. A big thing about his draft is that Terra ground hits everything really hard. Ground types in general hit his team really hard, and if he doesn't bring the Appleton, then Terra Blast ground is super free. If he does bring the Appleton, hopefully we can force it to Terra. Its Terras are Grass, Fairy, Steel, so if it's just Terra Grass, that's not the worst thing ever. We can still get around that. It'll be a lot more annoying if it's not Terra Steel or Terra Fairy though, so we got to be careful with that. Besides the Appleton though, this Meloetta set just kind of smacks his entire draft. Even Oricorio is not going to want to take hits from this Meloetta. We are running enough speed for a Jolly max speed Skuntank or Timid max speed, because I did see that in mocks. So I figured it's just a lot easier for me to outspeed it than to try and take a hit from it. So also shout out to the front office homies for helping me out for this week here. So yeah, all 3 moves have everything. Calm Mind is just in case I can Calm Mind on something. Next off, we have Mandy Mommy, the Mandibuzz here, rocking a nice physically defensive Rocky helmet set with Toxic, Foul Play, and Knockoff. All 3 of these moves are very important here. I wish I could fit U-Turn or Defog on here, but after mocking, Double Dark Stab with Toxic is honestly the best set I think that I could bring here. Foul Play is just way too good into his physically offensive mons, and Rocky Helmet is amazing for that Scizor, because Scizor is a giant problem, along with Inteleon. Inteleon is probably the biggest issue going into this game, because I 100% expect it to be the crit set, where it has a 50% chance to crit whatever moves it wants to go for, and my best way of dealing with that is going to be right here in our Assault Vest Lantern. The main 3 moves here just hit everything, and they're just stab. Hydro Pump plus Scald hit everything really hard. Like, if he expects me to just have Scald as an offensive move and thinks he'll live another water move, then I can surprise him with the Hydro Pump. That did help me out in a mock. And then Electro is just there in case I can lower the speed of something. But with this bulk investment, I believe Inteleon only has a slight chance to 3-hit KO us. If rocks are up, he does 3 KO us. Depending on if he's modest or timid. But regardless though, as long as he doesn't get super lucky with Dark Pulse flinches and crits, then I think we should be good. Next off, we have Assault Vest Golurk, which I know is a little bit odd, but the cool thing about Golurk here is that this is able to more or less check the Oricorio. Even if he is the ghost form of Oricorio, we can live a +1 hit from full and then return just obliterate him with the Poltergeist here. Earthquake is just there for secondary stab because ground moves are just really good into him. Even though it is on the physical side, outside of Mudsdale, everything is hit pretty hard. Fire Punch is literally just there for the Scizor because that thing is a giant problem, and Stone Edge is just there to hit the Oricorio. If it's not the Ghost or Psychic form, then Stone Edge hits it pretty hard. Next off, we have Sitrusberry Rocks. Tickaton's dual stab is actually really good in this matchup because it hits everything for neutral or super effective damage. Even Scizor is not going to appreciate switching in and taking a hit from this Thunder Wave. It's just nice in case we are able to T-Wave something, just to fish for those potential paras, and Rocks, because Rocks are going to be very helpful here if he doesn't bring a bunch of Boots Mons. His removal is Oricorio and Scizor, both of which don't really want to defog, so if they are defog, they probably aren't going to be as scary as they possibly could be. And then our final team member is going to be Fluffy here, the Meowstic. Scarf Meowstic. Yeah, we're not bringing Mienshao. Originally, I had Scarf Mienshao. Unfortunately, though, Mienshao's coverage was just not cutting it, and Scarf Meowstic in Mox ended up helping out a lot more. So yeah, that's our squad, and with that being said, let's jump into the battle. Okay, pasa YouTube, aka what's up YouTube. So for those of you who did not see the first minute or so of this video, unfortunately, this match was scheduled at the time when there was snow in North Carolina where I live, so I wasn't able to be around my computer and Switch at the same time. So when we rescheduled this, I wasn't around my computer, but this match was very straightforward and was very easy to recreate. So the two different turns that happened, I'll explain, but besides that, everything was pretty much exactly like the Wi-Fi battle. If you guys do want to see the live version of this Wi-Fi battle, then you can go ahead and check out our opponent, which is Finfin. His channel link and Twitch will be down below. Make sure to answer the comment question of the day and leave a like. So looking at the team preview here, he did bring a scary combination of 6 Mons. Honestly, everything, all his squad could have come, all 11 Mons, any of combination of those 6 definitely would have come. The 3 that I was certain that would come though were Inteleon, Scizor, and Mudsdale, because I saw those 3 mostly in Mox. Skuntank could be annoying depending on the set, as well as the Appleton and Oricorio. So going into this game, I figured my best lead, regardless of what he could lead with, is going to be my Lantern, just because the crit set of Inteleon, which has a 50% chance to crit every move, could be a giant problem. So I don't want him to lead that and me lead poorly against that, and then me have to switch my Lantern in on a crit. So even if you let something like Mudsdale, I was perfectly fine with that because I could still just switch out into something else against it. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Lantern, of course, is my lead, as he does end up leading off with the Inteleon. He goes for the U-turn into the Appleton. I go straight for the Volt Switch. I guess he could have tried to hard switch Mudsdale in here, but that would have been really risky if I did go for the Scald. Even if he had brought in Mudsdale, I could have just brought in Mandibuzz, but I Volt Switch out here into my Tinkaton. Now, he doesn't necessarily have the best switch-ins to my Tinkaton. If he did want to stay in and go for the Terra, Appleton Terraing is actually good for me, because that means he's not a grass type. So if this is no longer a grass type, the only switch-in that he has to my Terra Blast Ground from Meloetta is the Oricorio, which after I Terra, Oricorio really can't do too much damage to me, just because Meloetta does have a lot of Spadef. So I can just go ahead and get up my Stealth Rock, seeing what the Appleton wanted to do. As he brings in the Skuntank, I am going to go for the Gigaton Hammer. I wasn't going to be able to knock him out, but getting off damage on this is nice because my Tinkaton was my switch-in to Skuntank. So he turns out to have the Temper Flare, which I saw in a mock, which I honestly didn't even realize that Skuntank got Temper Flare. But I knew I could live any one hit, as he does hit me after I hit him with the Gigaton Hammer. I ended up going for the Play Rough here in the initial Wi-Fi battle, but I missed Play Rough. And that kind of sucks because it actually turns out that he's got the Rocky Helmet. So if I did hit my Play Rough here, the Rocky Helmet damage would have put me in range of where it would have activated my Sitrusberry. So technically I would have had a little bit more HP out of this exchange. But regardless though, as you saw, the Temper Flare only did 47%. So I could still live any hit that he wanted to go for. It's just that out of this exchange, I would have been at slightly higher HP, but that doesn't really end up mattering later in the game. As in comes to Scizor. Now, even though I am Rocky Helmet, I don't have anything that I can do to the Scizor, and if he does turn out to be Swords Dance or just Banded, I don't want him to do entirely too much against me. I was more scared of Swords Dancing because if I did stay and he can SD once, I don't really do too much damage to him, and then he can SD again, and then at that point I'm dealing with the +4 Scizor. So my immediate answer to this is my Mandibuzz, as he does turn out to be Swords Dance. Regardless of what he has, I can easily live one hit, and then after +2 Foul Play is going to be able to just blow him back, as in comes the Appleton. I have no idea what this thing is going to do as I go for the Toxic. In hindsight, this was probably a dumb play. I could have honestly just gone for the Roost, because regardless of what this thing did, I don't think I would have been entirely too concerned about it. I guess maybe Curse could have been a problem, but we would have figured out a way to deal with that, I think. I don't know, Toxicking here was definitely a bad play, I think, on my end, as he does turn out to be Terra Steel, and he goes for the Apple Acid. I'm thinking, okay, even at -1 SPDF, I still eat any hit that he wants to go for, but it turns out that he's rocking a lot of special attack investment and gets me pretty low. So here, I'm just going to sack off my Tickaton, thinking he would go for another Terra Blast, but he actually ends up going for the Apple Acid, and this is nice because I can outspeed him here and do a little bit of damage before he knocks me out with the next Apple Acid. And now this gives me a switch into my Meloetta, and as I mentioned in the builder, this thing Terraring is actually better for me, because if this just stayed a pure grass type, that could have been a little problematic, but now that it's a steel type, he's weak to ground. I'm Terra Blast ground with Soft Sand. I'm going to be doing a whole lot of damage to something, and even if he had switched into the Oricorio after I Terra, there's no way Oricorio knocks me out in one hit, or I don't think it could be me 1v1. So if he had hard switch Oricorio here on my Terra Blast ground, I don't think there was any way he could beat me 1v1, because I wasn't really concerned about that scenario if it did occur. Either way though, it doesn't happen, as he leaves in the Appleton to see what I wanted to do. I knock him out here, and he brings in the Oricorio, probably thinking that I was Choice Specs, but I am not. I'm just Soft Sand, and Meloetta's special attack is ridiculous, as he goes for the Revelation Dance after the Quiver Dance, taking my hit, and I'm able to knock him out in 2 shots, as in comes the Mudsdale. And I really have no reason to switch out here. I can just stay in and go for the Grass Stone. Even if he is Rindoberry, getting off a huge hit on this Mudsdale is still going to be really good for me in the long run, as he eats the hit, knocks me out with the Heavy Slam. Now here in the initial battle itself, I was a little bit torn of what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if he was Assault Vest or not, so I was pretty close to bringing in my Lantern here and trying to go for the Hydro Pump or Scald. Luckily though, that is not what I did, because at least by bringing in Mandibuzz, I can go for Toxic, and then I still have 2 other mons to try and deal with it. As I go for the Roost, just seeing what he wants to do, he goes for the Body Press, doesn't do entirely too much to us, which is nice, so I can try and go for the Roost again here. As he goes for the Earthquake, does even less, and now I can go for the Toxic. And at this point, I'm guessing he doesn't have the rest, because he's not going for it, and I'll be able to knock him out here with the Foul Play. And then his last mon is the Inteleon, which I can just sack off Mandibuzz. In the initial battle, he went for the Snipe Shot, and he got the crit here, but without the crit, he wouldn't have knocked me out, so I just went for Ice Beam. As down goes Mandibuzz, I bring in my Lantern, and the funny thing about this is that in the Wi-Fi battle, he goes for the Mud Shot, as you're going to see here, and then I go for Volt Switch, and I crit him, and Lantern gets the final KO, but in the replay here, I don't get the crit, so I'm just going to bring in Meowstic and knock him out with the Thunderbolt. So yeah, those were the only real differences in the Wi-Fi battle and this showdown replay. I apologize. I promise though, week 5 will be on Wi-Fi. I'll be around my Switch and my PC. Hopefully I can find my webcam somewhere. I don't know if it's here or somewhere else. I thought I had my webcam here, but I don't. Regardless though, I apologize that this was uploaded like this. I promise though, I will try my best to make the rest of the season on Wi-Fi as it should be. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, leave a comment to the question of the day, and with that being said, I will see you all next week. So thank you for watching. Later, everybody.